Welcome to Disability News and Views, a program brought to you by the Mayor's Commission for Persons with Disabilities. My name is Krista McCosh, and I'm the Disability Commissioner for the City of Boston. In news today, I'd like to let you know that we held our 12th annual ADA Day celebration on August 31st. This was in recognition of the 32nd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Over 200 people from the disability community attended our event on Boston City Hall Plaza. We had food, music, and information tables from 30 organizations who work with people with disabilities. We also had information from city departments and information on the new City Hall Plaza renovation. We honored the Boston Public Facilities Department for their work on the plaza. It will be unveiled in the fall, and it will be all accessible for persons with disabilities. We also give away ADA Day t-shirts at the event, and we have plenty left over. So if you'd like us to mail you a t-shirt, please email disability@boston.gov. We're now planning our next community event for early October. This event is called Civic Engagement Day for People with Disabilities. It welcomes Boston residents with disabilities to come into City Hall and see the City Council chamber, register to vote, learn how to testify at a hearing, and hopefully get to meet Mayor Michelle Wu. You can also meet your neighborhood liaison. These staff work with people in every neighborhood if you have any issues or concerns you'd like to let the city know about. So stay tuned for more details on Civic Engagement Day in early October. Now that the fall is here, it's time to think about elections. My office works closely with the city's elections department to ensure that all polling sites are accessible for people with disabilities. This year, the city has created 20 new precincts because of population growth. This will make in-person voting more convenient, and it will reduce wait times. However, it may affect where some people now go to vote. Be sure to check your polling site before the general election in November. You can do that by by visiting boston.gov/elections. Speaking of elections, the city now has an accessible vote by mail option for the general election in November. If you have a print disability that prevents you from completing a paper ballot privately and independently, you can contact absenteevoter@boston.gov to request access to the electronic system. So we hope everybody will go and vote in November. Boston SNAP participants are urged to create a new EBT card with a PIN code. SNAP participants can call the number on the back of their card as soon as possible to change their PIN. The Department of Transitional Assistance will be erasing older PIN codes soon to secure EBT cards from scammers. So please do this as soon as possible. Finally, I want to let everybody know that the City of Boston has a new system to request curb ramp repair or installation. If you notice that a curb ramp in your neighborhood is broken or missing, you can email disability@boston.gov to learn about the new system, or you can check out our website, boston.gov/disability. We encourage everyone to report broken or missing curb ramps so that we can maintain accessibility across the city of Boston. And with that, I will turn it over to my co-host, Ken Meyer, for his interview this month. Ken?
Thank you, Commissioner. Our guest is Quincey Roberts, and he is head of the LGBTQ. Quincey, it's nice to have you. Can you explain what those initials mean?
Yes, Ken, thanks for having me. My name is Quincey Roberts, and I am the Executive Director of the LGBTQ plus Office of Advancement. Very new office, and just excited to be working alongside Commissioner McCosh and so many others who have put a lot of work into city government. So LGBTQ, the ongoing acronyms that we call the alphabet soup. So let's start with the L. The L stands for lesbian, usually woman to woman, aligned person who is attracted to only people of the same similar gender. G, Now, G could be a little confusing to some, but it's the universal term for anyone that subscribes to this community. But it's also used for a term for men to men aligned individuals who are only attracted to people of the same or similar gender. B is for bisexual. Bisexual indicates that you are attracted to both genders. And the recognition of bisexual individuals is super important since there have been a lot of periods where people who identify as bi have been kind of misunderstood as confused. So we definitely have to do more work with the B in the LGBT community. Next up is T. Transgender. Transgender is a term that indicates that a person's gender identity is different from the gender associated with the sex they were assigned at birth. So, for example, we may have an individual that was born male, assigned male at birth, but through life identifies as a woman or a female, and they start to do things to transition to match body, mind, and soul, as I like to say. Next up is the Q. Now, Q means queer or questioning. So, growing up queer for me just meant different. Um, but in this community, it's also another umbrella term that a lot of millennials use. We don't hear this from our LGBTQ seniors, but we do hear the word queer being used a lot in academia and with our millennial constituent groups. Questioning also just means that you're exploring your sexuality, which a lot of people in this country and in this world do. The plus is something that is new. I'm glad they added it because normally I would have to say LGBTQIA and whatever's coming next. The plus is just all encompass. So if we add something else, like for example, in our indigenous American identity, we have something called two spirits. That is all encompassed with the plus. So that's why they added the plus because every day these terms are changing and growing and evolving. So the plus helps people like myself who have to do a lot of explaining and educating the community. It helps us out.
How about some of the policies that you've established since the commission was formed?
So policies, I'm glad you talked about policies because that is something that Mayor Wu has championed from the beginning. So far, this office is started. It was established June 1st of this year. So we haven't accomplished any policies. However, we are currently working on something that Mayor Wu, then Councilor Wu, put in as a counselor. It was called the Gender Inclusivity Ordinance, and that ordinance was around making sure that municipal forms like your birth certificate, like your marriage certificate, and any type of municipal form that included gender, male or female, also include gender nonconforming. So she passed that as a counselor, and now as a mayor, she is driving that home. I am partnering with her. That will be my first piece of policy that is actually pushed through. Right now, it's an ordinance, but hope to make that mandatory and push it all the way to the state as well. So we have been working with some state reps on how we can also collaborate with the state on that. The other piece of policy I would like to advertise, because I do know Commissioner McCosh and her team are all about holding people accountable and making sure that we prevent discrimination and just how we treat people better. Me and my team is working on a culturally competent training that hopefully will be mandatory for all City of Boston employees, similar to our racial equity training that we've had in the last 2 years. This training will go over the terminology like we just did with you, Ken. It would also go over pronouns and how we approach our pronouns and what that means in 2022. It also we'll go over how to better serve the LGBT community as city employees. So we're working on the training now, and we have 15 departments, including the Disability Commission, that will be a part of our pilot program, because you and I both know, before people give you the green light 100% to make this mandatory, we have to try it out. So the pilot phase will start in October, which is LGBTQ plus History Month.
I also know that you've got something big planned for September 14th. Can you tell us a little about that and what that involves?
I would say the past 4 years, we all have noticed a uprising in racism, uh, just a difference in political alignment, um, just a lot of hate and vitriol towards people that don't look like yourself, or act or have the same views. So recently, we've had white supremacists come to the city of Boston and disrupt what we like to call family fun time. We've had some instances at Pride where white supremacists have come to some Pride events, specifically Black and Brown Pride events, and just spear homophobia, hate, and racism. We also had an incident, unfortunate incident, where at the Pride in Hyde Park, which is a senior queer housing development, which is in construction right now, where we had some vandalism, where people threaten um, the potential residents at Pride in Hyde Park with uh, just setting them on fire, harassment, and all this has been happening in the last 2 months. And last but certainly not least, we had one of our drag performers who reads for the last 11 years in the city of Boston in JP neighborhood, read books to young folks. We also had her attacked this year by white supremacists as well. So, what we decided to do, because we know these things are not going away, um, we know hate, homophobia, racism, transphobia will not go away. However, there is nothing in place right now where we can hold people accountable. So, since this is getting national attention, we brought in U.S. Attorney Rachel Rollins, former DA Rachel Rollins, for a town hall that's happening September 14th. This is a virtual event. Please register. We are asking for testimonials from the community. I looked at the sign up sheet this morning, and we have over 50 residents that want to testify. Of course, we can't have 50 people testify on September 14th because we only have an hour and a half with U.S. Attorney, but we are picking 12 of those individuals to openly testify about their experience with either racism, discrimination, homophobia, transphobia. We will also have on that call Mayor Wu. We will have the new police commissioner, Commissioner Cox. We will also have the LGBT liaison for the Boston Police, Deputy Superintendent Richie Dayhill. And we will also have representative from the U.S. Attorney's Office with deliverables. And Ken, you probably know this as well as I do. We have a lot of discussions with in town halls and listening sessions, but there are no next steps. The thing I really, really love about this event that's happening on September 14th is every department that I just named is required to have deliverables for the community. So if you or anyone is interested in September 14th, what you will see is you will you will hear from the community directly. You will also have coping mechanism skills. We're bringing in a really good friend of mine who does trauma response work. We want to bring Boston Public Health Commission in to talk about how we deal with these traumas and this experience of racism, homophobia, and transphobia. So we're going to have that as well. And then last but not least, we will have U.S. Attorney Rachel Rollins, myself, and the director of Human Rights Commission give the community some deliverables and a safety plan that we have suggested to Boston Police as well as the federal government, just to keep our LGBTQ plus individuals safe here in the city of Boston, because we can't no longer wait for someone to save us. This is more or less we're saving ourselves.
All right, Quincy, we have just gotten over, at least I hope we have, a crisis with COVID. And now the word monkeypox has crept into our vocabulary. Are gay and lesbian people more susceptible to this disease than somebody like myself?
So that is a one of those questions that has layers to it, my friend. So let's try to approach this. So monkeypox, like you just said, it is a another pandemic that we have to deal with. Something that is on the rise in states like California, New York, and Texas, those larger states. But unfortunately, about a month and a half ago, monkeypox resurged because monkeypox is not a new disease or virus, but it resurged here in the state of Massachusetts. Um, so to answer your question, is it LGBTQ plus individuals are more at risk for monkeypox? The answer for that right now is no. Who is at risk right now is Black and brown men, whether you're gay or straight. The numbers are pointing to Black and brown men. Um, I will say that the first cases have been found in the LGBT community, specifically gay Black men. But this is not a gay disease, just like any other virus or skin to skin disease. Monkeypox affects us all. Um, However, calling a thing, I know that my community has been branded for many different diseases and viruses, STIs, specifically HIV and AIDS. And that's what we don't want to do. We do not want people to um, react in such a way like they did in the 80s, where people are stigmatized for something that's out of their control. So with monkeypox, again, it is skin to skin, and anyone um, that's on this earth can contract monkeypox. However, the cases right now are within Black and brown gay men and white gay men. So let's as I always say, if my neighbor is affected by something, I'm affected by it. So, what we are doing is taking a team approach and just trying to get as many people vaccinated as possible. Um, September 10th, which is actually this coming Saturday, we are hosting a clinic at Codman Square Health Center. So if anyone is listening or watching this broadcast, please reach out to me. My email is Quincey, Quincey .Roberts, Roberts, at boston.gov, and we can get you signed up and ready to be vaccinated. And even if you can't make September 10th vaccination clinic, we will be hosting clinics throughout the month in different neighborhoods at different health agencies. And Ken and Kamish, if you know of any places that we need to be, or I should say the state needs to be, with these mobile vaccination clinics, please let me know, because, and whoever's listening, if you have events that you would like the state to come and talk about monkeypox or host a vaccination clinic in your neighborhood, please reach out to me or Commissioner Makash, and we will try to make that happen for you.
All right. Can you tell us a little more about the vaccine and the the period, like is it 3 or 4 days that if you think you've got it, you should get it taken care of? And who else should they contact?
Got it. So it's a lot of different information on when and um, what types of next steps. So I'll start with, if you feel like you have come encounter with someone with monkeypox, and I'll just be very frank with you, Ken, you'll know the difference between a COVID and a monkeypox epidemic. You'll know if you have monkeypox. You'll know if the person will know if they have monkeypox because it's painful. Um, it's lesions, it's rashes, it's protruding bumps, and it's very, very painful from what I've been told for the two individuals that I interviewed myself. Because before I took the vaccination, I wanted to do more research, because I have the same fears, Ken, that any other human being has. I wanted to know what was in the vaccination. I wanted to know the side effects. I wanted to know what would happen if I did not take the vaccination. So to answer your question, the symptoms for monkeypox is very visible and very strong. So I encourage anyone who feels like they have been come encounter with monkeypox, or they have monkeypox themselves, to contact your primary care. And if you do not have a primary care at the time, please go to Boston Medical Center, because they are giving out treatment and vaccinations um, for free. Um, and I do want to mention this because someone asked me this yesterday. What about people who are worried about the immigration status? I can speak for the clinic that's happening this Saturday. All we need is your name and demographic information. No one's checking your immigration status or anything like that. This is all about making sure that you are healthy. Has nothing to do with your housing or your status in this country. It's all about making sure that our constituents and our community is healthy. All our community is healthy. So I hope that answered your question, Ken. Sorry.
What about the Boston Health Commission? Can people go there?
Go to the Boston Health Commission. So there is no actual site as of right now at the Boston Health Commission, which is located on 1010 Mass Ave. There's no site that you can go to. However, you can go to the Boston Health Commission website, and they have every ounce of information that you can possibly find. You could also go to our website, which is boston.gov/LGBTQ. It's a little easier. And you click on monkeypox, and it'll take you to the Boston Public Health Commission page as well.
Can non-residents of Boston get this in the city?
So the answer is yes, but we encourage non-residents of Boston to please reach out to their city government, city health agencies before coming into Boston, because that has been one of the biggest problems when it comes to access. For example, if you have people that live in Tewksbury, Milton, coming into Codman Square to take all the vaccinations, then the people in Codman Square, who it's actually designed for, don't have the access. So I would encourage folks to reach out to their local health agencies before coming into Boston. Um, However, yes, you can come into Boston and get a monkeypox vaccination if you need to. Um,
Okay. Um, Getting away from this for a couple minutes, you've had a background with City Hall before this commission started, both in neighborhood services and the Human Rights Commission.
Oh yeah, and it goes back further than that. I started in city government as a elementary, well, not an elementary school. I wanted to be an elementary school. That was the dream I had. And I ended up getting a job at a high school, Jeremiah E. Burke. So I taught freshman academy for about 2.5 years at Jeremiah E. Burke. That's how I got into, I guess, public service. Started there and then went into veteran services. So I worked for veteran services for 4 years, right after working in Boston Public Schools. Veteran services for 4 years. Was proud to organize and help organize the largest outreach strategy that the city has undertake, I think, ever, which was Operation Think of Vet, which is still to this day thriving and reaching our 22,000 veterans that call Boston home. That was a brainchild of mine, as well as the African American Veteran Brunch, which is still going strong to this day. Then, after veteran services, I got a cool opportunity to work in fair housing and equity. That's actually where I met Commissioner McCosh and the team, because we shared a suite and we had some really good times and just picking each other's brain and helping each other with a lot of different programs in fair housing. That's where I got my love for affordable housing and home ownership. uh, did that for 3 years in the community, helping community clean up their credit, to overall purchase a home one day. And if you didn't want to purchase a home, just better ways to save money and build generational wealth. Then, after 3 years of fair housing and equity, I moved over to Human Rights Commission to work as their community relations manager, where I did a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now, where it was a grassroots organizing with the community, letting them know about anti-discrimination laws, the fair housing laws, and all the other laws that fall under HUD and the Massachusetts General Law. So after HRC, um, I'm here. I was appointed early last year as the LGBT liaison in neighborhood services, where my job was similar to this, but on a smaller scale, because I was still doing HRC work and I was also trying to be there for everyone in the city, i.e., why I decided to write a proposal to the incoming mayor, because at the time we had an interim mayor, Mayor Janey, and I knew we were going to get a full-time mayor at some point. So we started the proposal on making the liaison job an actual department. Um, and we're here today and it worked. So someone was listening, someone was paying attention to the work that we were doing, the foundation that we were laying 4 to 5 years ago, and now we're here. So that is a brief synopsis of my journey here at City Hall.
And in closing, do you have anything else you would like to add or say to the public?
Yeah, just as I always say, when it comes to being different or queer or not like everyone else in the room, just make sure that you respect people's differences, and get to know each other's differences. Queer folks or LGBTQ folks, we don't want to be tolerated. We want to be celebrated. So I think if you can find it in your heart to celebrate someone that's different than you, I think we're on the right path. I think we're doing the right things. Um, and last but not least, just be willing to learn from someone that doesn't look like you, talk like you, or from the same areas that you are from. I think that's how we move the needle forward, and we make this world just a little bit better for the next generation of folks that's coming in.
Well, sir, I thank you very much for your time. You've certainly been forthright and cooperative. And please know that if you need anything, you can always call on the commissioner, of course, and me as well to help you in any way we can.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you, Commissioner McCosh, and your wonderful team. Thanks for having me. And I don't want to be a stranger, so please have me back.
We'll work on that, sir. And that'll
All
do
right.
it. That'll do
Thank
it.
you.
Edition of Disability News and Views.